Hello guys, welcome back to another video on Prime Tennis YouTube. Today we are watching some highlights of Iga. Um, Today I just want to focus all about movement. Movement is, you know, such a huge part of tennis. There are players who their entire game is just movement. You move well and it will help you so much. So today, that's just what we're going to be looking at. And I think Iga is one of the best movers. She moves the most um, on the WTA currently. She's always moving. And I've talked about it before in previous videos, right? But movement, you know, it's more than just moving your feet, right? I know that's like the base for this video, but there's so much more to it that you have to keep in mind, right? Like anticipation. Like in this point, Sabalenka hits a great shot cross court. Iga has to run over here to get it, and then she's moving this way. She's already moving this way as Sabalenka is hitting that ball down the line. So she's able to get here, play a real nice cross court shot, right? But if she wasn't anticipating going this way, right? So you can see she didn't stop here. She had a continuous movement over to this side, and that allowed her to get to that shot, right? So she moves well, but I just want to say, to keep that in mind as you guys play. But you just see how much she moves. And if they have like one where it's like a good rally, you'll see it a lot. But you see it here, like how many steps she takes before Jabeur hits this shot, right? And then step, 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 and then split. That was a little bit more calm. She's able to get to that one. But see in like the beginning of this point, how much more she moves compared to Emma here. Here, I'll give you guys an example in this point, right? Emma moves better towards the end, right? But on this shot here, right here, you can see she comes here and she kind of stops right here, which is something that Iga never does, right? She never stops moving right here. She just stops, kind of sets her feet, and then splits. She splits this way because she thought Iga was going this way. She gets it wrong. It's actually going this way. When you continuously move, you're quicker on your feet and you're able to get to shots like this much better. The thing is that it's very tiring to do. I'm sure that you guys trained quite a bit, for her leg stamina to be able to move like that. But it's, 10 billion% worth it. I saw this clip from Rafa Nadal. Coco is also one of the best movers on tour right now. I believe that too. You just want to do everything dynamic. You want to move dynamic. You want to split dynamic. You want to recover dynamic, right? You don't want to hit a shot and just, kind of follow through there. Like you see this shot with Coco here where she goes out wide. This shot here. On this shot, you'll see the way she recovers. She doesn't stop moving. And immediately she's coming back, right? And then she's coming forward. And then she hits the volley. And then Iga lobs her. But You see what I'm saying? They never stop moving. But what I was saying before is that, Nadal, he was giving this tip to this one guy. I don't know who it was, but he was saying the biggest piece of advice that I could give you was to just use your legs. Use your legs, use your legs, use your legs. And that's just the biggest thing. You want to use your legs as much as possible when you're moving, when you're hitting, and it's hard. It's difficult to constantly stay low like that and to move your feet quickly like that, but it's definitely worth it. This is a good point. Like this point here, I'm sure Iga's and Jabir's legs are on fire, sliding around like that, getting to all these difficult shots. So it's really something that you have to work on. You know, it's kind of like a habit to slow down your feet, especially when you're tired, but that's something that you have to like really put mind to body to work on that, you know. It really makes a huge difference. Let's watch this point again. Side to side. And you can do drills for this, right? Like side to side drills. That's all Jabir is doing right now. Just side to side to side to side. Just last time, this right here is something I actually got called out for recently. His She hit a crazy shot, right? She didn't know if it was going in, but you always want to keep playing, right? So here she hits this shot and she kind of just stands there until she's like, "Oh crap, it's in," and then she starts moving again, and then she goes, right? So now look at the shot. She had to hit that slice there. She doesn't start moving until Iga's right about to hit it. Now she's like, "Oh crap, I gotta go play." Now you can see her, like fighting to go. She's like, you know, like reacting. That's the word. And so here she has to come and hit the slice. But imagine if she was right here when Iga hit that shot. Then she can step in here, put this down the line. Instead, she slices it to the middle, and then Iga's back in the point. So you see, small things like that make a huge difference. That's just another example of you never, ever, 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 ever want to stop moving your feet. Wow, Jabir's in a lot of these. Wow, it's a nice shot. There you go. Yeah, you see how much she moves there. It's actually insane. I swear she moves more than any other player. Like, especially off that return, you see here how many steps she takes and then she goes back. Like, I don't see anyone else do that because it's so tiring. I think that's just, her discipline and, her willing to fight for every point, maximum effort. Bianca's moving well here. It's a nice shot. All right, guys, I think that's where I'm going to end it for today. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Um, I hope you guys incorporate this. Moving, it's such a simple thing, but you can really study how they move. I didn't really get into that, but the side shuffle, the crossover steps, when to step in, when to step back, when to hit open stance, sliding. There's a lot to it, but you want to watch them. You want to incorporate as much movement into your game as you can, because it makes a huge difference. You ever play against someone who can just move incredibly well, who, like, it feels like they get to every one of your shots, right? It makes such a huge difference. Even if your technique is bad or you don't hit that powerfully, it doesn't matter what kind of game you have. This just helps tremendously. So I'm gonna leave it at that for today. Hope you guys enjoy.